G'day, welcome back. Uh, I'd like to especially welcome my new subscribers, and I hope you enjoy the content on my channel. If you missed part one of the noise reduction for my workshop, there's a link up there now. Maybe you should go watch that first. Now, I'm kind of over flogging myself in Chiang Mai for a few days. It was a pretty full-on 2 or 3 days I was there. But anyway, I read all of your comments in about the motor quietening, and I took them on board. Well, I do have some of my own plans, and I intend to do that first. Now, after I've done that, I'm going to turn my attention to the mill and see what I can do about quietening that down a bit. And I don't believe it makes as much noise as the lathe does. But anyway, we'll get on with that. So follow me over to the lathe and we'll get started. Alrighty, so the next plan of attack is to try and encase this motor as much as I can with some of this shitty low density foam that I started out using for castings. So what I will do is put a sheet of it in here, a sheet of it across the bottom under the motor, knock the back cover off. There's a rail there and here, put a piece in there, put a piece through underneath. Not sure just what I will do around the back here yet. The belt does come up through a slot in the back here, so there's not a very big hole there for noise to come out of. And I don't know that I have too much. Oh no, I've got a bit of room here, and I'll try and put some on the back of this panel here. Alrighty, so I thought I wouldn't bother boring you with doing all that. And by the way, my daughter's dead meat when she gets home. I've made the discovery that she's been into my stuff and she's used up all of the special glue I had for this foam and replaced it with some cheap ass bottle of school glue, hoping I probably wouldn't notice. Anyway, now what would you say if I said all of that? And now that thing's almost completely encased, except for over on the drawer side over here. There's none on that side, but there's a big drawer there, so I can't really do much about that. So that's now this side, and the bottom, and we've got the box for the electrics in the front of that. I probably could put a piece across the back of the box, but I don't know that that'd help it any. But anyway, like I was about to say, what would you say if I said it made absolutely no difference to it? Have a listen. According to the decibel meter, which is a meter over there, it's still about 80. So that's a bit of a letdown. So I'll have to, I don't know, have a look at something else, I guess. All right. So while I think about that some more, I'm going to check out the mill and see how noisy that is. Alrighty, so I've decided to switch back to my old camera because that little collar mic wasn't picking up the sounds of these things properly. So I thought I'd run this and let you hear it and see what I'm getting. I've got the decibel meter sitting over here and it's all of a foot from this thing, whereas that's where it was sitting for the lathe, which is a meter away from it. But this is considerably quieter. Like I said, it doesn't make anywhere near the amount of noise. The motor in this one, even though it's still a washing machine motor, it looked almost brand new when I bought it. Compared to the other two, the one that's in the belt sander was an absolute wreck and I had to rebuild it. The one in the lathe, I just used it as it was, the way it came. But this one looked almost brand new. I've done nothing to it. But anyway, let's start this up and I'll run it at about the same speed I was running the lathe at, which was about 1170, somewhere around there. So 1170. That's sitting on about 71, 72, 73 decibels. It only goes up to something close to 80 when I actually speak. So that's how quiet this thing is. I'll go up to 2000, see what happens. So even upwards of 2,500 RPM, this thing's only just edging up towards 80. But anyway, a good mate of mine gave me this yesterday. It's a dirty, great big long mouse pad. And what I'm going to do is cut it up and line the inside of this case with it. I'm going to use that because I don't have a lot of room inside there in places. So that should fit nicely in there. Don't know that it'll help any, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. Alrighty, so I've lined the inside of this, only took a still photo, there it is there. While I had it off, I decided I would see how much noise this makes without that cover on it, and to be honest with you, I think it was a couple of decibels less. And I fitted this cover up back on with the lining on the inside, and it's made no difference. It's still bouncing around that 70 decibel mark, just 69 to 73, somewhere in that range. So that's made no improvement. I'm having a lot of luck here, anyway. Alright, so the next step will be, this entire thing is bolted to a concrete beam in this wall, directly to it, which is going to transmit noise all through that wall everywhere. Now I quite often used to say I reckon this thing was noisier in the house than outside the house. And down the bottom down here, there's a little concrete beam which is the foundation that the walls are built on, and I just have a piece of angle iron sitting up against the corner of that beam, two of them. So what I'm going to do is put some rubber in between where it mounts to the wall and where it sits down onto that foundation, and see if that helps any to reduce noise. But I won't know that until I start making cuts again, but that'll be the next step. Alrighty, so I've been up under here and cleaned this up a bit, cleaned all the swarf off that support beam underneath. Now I've got to undo these three bolts and get something up in behind there. It's been a week since I did anything because my knees were hurting so much from what I did to myself in Chiang Mai. I haven't felt like getting down here this low. But anyway, I'll get in there and loosen that off, and I'll get up in there and loosen them off and get something up in behind it. Alright, now that I've got that up in there, I'll use this jack to jack it up a bit and try and get some of that stuff underneath those two bits of angle iron. Hopefully that won't push off and it goes back. I think it did. That's a bummer. Anyway, I don't know if it's going to make much difference anyway. Tighten this back up before it falls off the wall. I'm doing this by feel, I can't see what I'm doing. Alrighty, so all that was that I put in there was a bit of this self-adhesive weather strip. Would have preferred a great lump of old rubber conveyor belt or something like that, but no idea where I'd get a piece of that from. This stuff is, you know, it'll compress a lot, but at least it's going to put something between the steel and the concrete, and hopefully it might not reduce noise. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. Alrighty, one of the few jobs I had lined up for myself to do early this year was to sort this thing out. The main pulley on the bottom is out of balance and it wobbles like crazy, makes the whole thing vibrate like mad. And I'm going to cast up a new pulley for the bottom. But I was lying in bed last night and I was thinking this motor in this one is very, very similar to the motor in the mill. A whole lot different to the one in the lathe. And from memory, I don't think it whined like that thing does. So what I'm thinking is I might pull all the covers off this, get everything off it that can make it vibrate, and just run it. I'll have to use my little digital tacho and make it run at 1170 RPM like that thing was, and see what sort of noise this makes. And if it's quieter than the mill motor, I might check out the legs and see how they are dimensionally, and if I can swap them, I will. So that'll be the next cab off the rank, get all the covers and everything off this and just see what that sounds like. Alrighty, so I've got this stripped down and I've tested what speed the motor is running at for the lathe to run at 1170, and I've set this at around the same. So I'll start it up and you can hear what it sounds like. It's actually just about as noisy as the other one, whine-wise, but I'll stick the cover over it and see what it's like with the cover over it. Not much better. So much for that idea. If you've been enjoying this video up to this point, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a great big thumbs up. Helps me out a bit. Well viewers, that's about all I can do for the time being. I can't think of much else that I can do outside of building a wall and a door for over the other side there. My mate that gave me that rail up there that the camera's hanging off at the moment has a great big pack of it at his place, and he said I can have that, and he told me he will drop it over sometime in the next couple of days. So I'm going to have a look into that stuff. It's got one big slot up the side, the one I put the track in up on the roof there. I think it's 18mm. I think I can buy a chipboard that's 18mm thick. So I'm going to go and check that out, because what I'll do is I'll make a frame out of this aluminium extrusion. Just cut up sheets of chipboard and put them in those slots and put it all together with some brackets. Then make a multi-fold door for across here, and some sort of door for over there. But I've got to tell you, it's pretty hot out here today already, and it's February's not over yet. It's actually still winter here, and March and April are the two hottest months of the year, so I'm going to know all about it. But anyways, that's about all I can do. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, or maybe got something out of it, or whatever, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.